Did you know that 1 in 20 people are cynophobic, or they have cynophobia? In other words, they have what they call a persistent, debilitating condition caused by extreme fear of dogs. I've shared before on this channel about how 1 in 20 people suffer from a crippling fear of dogs. This article says that the extreme fear of dogs is just like the fear of spiders, cockroaches, lions, or any other animal for that matter. That is false, because if you are afraid of a cockroach or a non-venomous spider, then that's kind of irrational, because those animals are not going to kill you. There is nothing irrational about being afraid of an animal that eats humans routinely, eats humans, attacks humans, disfigures humans. Dogs are predatory scavengers. All dogs retain the instincts of their wild ancestors. All dogs are capable of eating humans, killing and eating them. And before you tell me that tiny dogs like chihuahuas can't kill you and hurt you, tiny dogs are a threat to tiny humans. I've talked about how Pomeranian killed an infant and a dachshund ate the genitals off a baby. So there's nothing irrational about fearing an unpredictable, bloodthirsty, remorseless predator. And all dogs are unpredictable, remorseless, bloodthirsty predators. Most dogs that attack people were well behaved, well trained, quote unquote, the best dogs for many, many years, until one day their predatory instincts took over. Usually because the dog was triggered by the frenetic movements or the high-pitched squeals of a human that mimic those of prey animals in distress. Usually, the people who get attacked by dogs are minding their own business, going about their lives, and the dogs become triggered, and all dogs are susceptible to it. Some breeds more than others, breeds that are genetically hyper aroused, like bully breeds, dogs that were bred to attack unprovoked, to not give up during a fight, to persist until the prey animal or the animal they're attacking is dead, to not let go when they are clamping down and shaking violently until, the animal they're attacking dies. Those types of dogs are more likely to go into predatory drift. But it can happen to any dog. All dogs are unpredictable, so fearing dogs is not irrational. Cynophobia, which is defined as an irrational fear of dogs, is not irrational whatsoever. In fact, I don't even think cynophobia should be a term. It should be, someone who has a healthy fear of dogs should be called a dog rationalist. It is healthy to fear dogs. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like playing Russian roulette. You never know when the dog might attack. So yeah, 1 in 20 people have what they call cynophobia, which is crippling, right? But many more than that have a fear of dogs which is not crippling, which is uncomfortable to varying degrees. Some people are not crippled by it. They can still go out and, be around dogs, but they're really uncomfortable and they have anxiety. Other people just feel really disgusted when they see an asshole on display that's all crusted in the fissures, with like dried up feces. Keep that shit behind your underpants, behind pants, but dogs don't wear pants, you see. Anuses simply have no business being on display in public. An anus is an anus. There's a reason why human beings need to wear pants in public. Dogs do not belong in public places for the same reason. But the point is, a lot of people are really grossed out by dogs. When a dog runs up to you, it wants you to pet it. You're expected to pet it. There are many of us who see the dog for what it is. It is covered in saliva. That does not make a dog clean, Same with cats, by the way. But anyway, it's like the dog uses its tongue as toilet paper before licking all over its body, and then it wants to rub into us. No, thank you. We are absolutely repulsed by dogs. Even people who have no fear of dogs can feel this revulsion and not want dogs anywhere near them, and that is their right to not have dogs approach them. We understand that dogs transmit a number of potentially deadly viral and bacterial diseases to humans, and we don't want to get sick. That's why we don't want to come into contact with your dog. How would you like it if a human being that was naked and covered in their own saliva approached you? What if they had licked all over their bodies, their arms, their legs, every area they could reach, and then they rushed up into your personal space and tried to rub into you, demanding to be pet, trying to lick you? Imagine their companion yelling, "Oh, he's friendly, he's not going to hurt you." Would you be happy about this? Nobody in their right mind would be happy. Why do dogs get a free pass? Why can they do this? It's crazy. You know what? Some of us just don't want to have a nose shoved into our genital regions. We don't want to get sniffed. We don't want to become sexually assaulted by your dog. And a lot of people say, oh, it's not sexual assault because the dog's just trying to gather information from you. It doesn't matter what their intention is. A person could be claiming that they're searching for the cure for cancer. They could claim to have the most noble of intentions, but if they come into my personal space and shove their nose up my crotch, I don't care what they say. This is an intrusion, it's an invasion, it's a violation, and it is sexual assault. So it's not only people who feel afraid of dogs that are going to have anxiety when they spot an off-leash dog. People who have this very normal, very understandable, very rational aversion to dogs because they are disgusting will also feel uneasy about a dog being off-leash. The topic today is walking dogs on leashes or having a dog on a leash, and how this offers a false sense of security to a lot of people. Because people like myself, I used to feel better when I would see, a sign that would say, dogs must be leashed on this trail or wherever, That's a false sense of security for a couple of reasons. First of all, most dog owners, it seems, do not obey these signs. They don't give a rat's ass about dog leash laws, and they flout the rules all the time. So you will always see dogs running around off leash at the beach or on hiking trails, wherever you are, despite the fact there are signs that indicate dogs should be leashed. So don't count on that sign to protect you from off-leash dogs. They're going to be there. Second thing to talk about is what I read about in this article here today. While I was enjoying my morning smoothie, I was reading this article and I thought I should make a video about this to tell people about this in case they don't know. I didn't realize the numbers were so high. I'm sure some of you, if not most of you, have known of a person who was injured while walking their dog. I know that my neighbor, she her dogs got into an altercation with another dog while she was out walking her dog, and she was an elderly woman, and the dog's leashes got all tangled up, and she somehow tripped over the leashes and fell, and she broke her arm. This is really not uncommon, but according to this article, the numbers are staggering. Let's start at the beginning here. The cuddles, the loyalty, the worshipful eyes, There's a lot of joy in having a dog, not the least of which is heading out for a brisk walk. Okay, first of all, cuddles, you can get that from a stuffed animal. Okay, loyalty, no, dogs are not loyal whatsoever. I made a video about that. If dogs were loyal, they would not be constantly running away from their owners. They would not be attacking their owners or their owners' friends, family, children. They would not be stealing food from their owners as soon as their owners turn their back. You know, that sort of deceptive, manipulative, sneaky behavior. They wouldn't behave that way. And they would not destroy the owner's property if they were loyal to their owner. I could go on and on. Anyway, see my video about how dogs are not loyal. Worshipful eyes. They're not worshiping you as much as they're just begging for food. They watch your every move. That's one thing that drove me crazy when I had a dog, was the way the dog was constantly staring at me. If a person would stare at you the way a dog stares at you, you would get annoyed. You'd probably get angry. You would not like it. But somehow, if it's a dog staring at you, this is worshipful and endearing, and people love it. The dog is just waiting for you to feed it, to drop a scrap of food for it, because they're perpetually hungry no matter how full they are. But that's what I think dog owners love about dogs. They want to feel like they're the center of the dog's universe because they have narcissistic qualities. They want to feel like they are a god to another creature. But they're fooling themselves because the dog isn't worshiping them. Anyhow, over the past 20 years, injuries related to dog walking have been on the rise among adults and children in the US. Fractures, sprains, and head trauma are among the most common. From 2001 to 2020, the estimated number of adults seen at emergency departments for dog walking injuries increased significantly from 7,300 to 32,300 a year. Most patients were women. 75% were women. And that's just emergency room visits. We know that a significant number of people might seek treatment at primary care, specialty, or urgent care clinics for their injuries. And a lot of people won't seek care at all. They'll just go home and deal with the pain, right? So who knows what the true number is? It's probably much, much higher than 33,000 per year. Dog ownership has become increasingly common. We know that the pandemic contributed to the spike in dog ownership. And now a lot of people are surrendering their dogs because they're realizing what a pain in the ass they are. Staying safe when walking a leash dog takes diligence, focus, and in inclement weather, extra precautions. Multitasking can be hazardous. Put your phone away. Well, it also requires strength if you are walking a large, powerful dog. And that's something I'm sure you've seen, is someone walking a dog who simply is lacking the strength to control the animal. So if the dog wants to get away from the person who's walking it, it can very easily. You can't really afford to relax when you walk a powerfully built dog with the torque of a small tractor. You have to pay attention, and you have to be strong. And I'd venture to say most women are not strong enough to control a lot of these large breeds that they're walking. In the early 2000s, Holston, who's a dog owner in Athens, Georgia, was walking his 65-pound or 29.4 kilogram pit bull in a park near home when a goose flapped and squawked. The dog bolted down an embankment, jerking the now 76-year-old Holston off the sidewalk. So what happened to the dog is its predatory instincts became triggered by the squawking and flapping of the goose. It went into predatory drift. Now, it was a goose that triggered it, but it could just as easily have been a child flapping his or her arms, running around, making sudden jerky movements while squealing, making a high-pitched type of noise. That could have set the dog off just as easily because the dog would have mistaken the child for a prey animal. So this is why these dogs have no business whatsoever in society. It does not matter how well the dog was trained, but if an animal eats human beings, it has no business living in our communities. Dogs are predators. All dogs are unpredictable, bloodthirsty, remorseless predators. No dog has any business whatsoever living in a human community. So this guy lost his footing, stepped into a hole, his ankle snapped. He was in pain that was so intense he almost passed out. His left foot was dangling like a big wet noodle. Susanna Johnston, 64, is a yoga instructor who runs a 40,000 member Facebook group for women aimed at improving balance, blah, blah, blah. She's been injured 3 times while dog walking over the years. So she's a yoga instructor, so you would think she had good balance, strength. About 5 years ago, her 50-pound lab mix went after a squirrel, which just as easily could have been a young child, while Johnston was kneeling to tuck a sweatshirt into her backpack. The leash had wrapped around one hand and she fractured a finger. That was the worst because it was twisted and pulled and I had to have surgery and rehab and everything else, she said. Running with a leashed dog is another hazard, no matter how well trained you think a dog is. It's especially dangerous with a dog that's easily spooked, very young, or prone to the zoomies. Well, as I said before, all dogs can be triggered to act on their predatory instincts, which all dogs are born with. You cannot train these instincts out of a dog. Any dog can go into predatory drift at any time. Please see my video about that for more information and visit the links in the description. If you don't believe me, listen to the experts. Doctors of veterinary medicine tell us this. There was a section of sidewalk that had scaffolding up, she says. The dog is a rescue dog and was relatively new to us. Well, that doesn't make any difference. He got spooked and got in front of me. That could have happened to a dog that this dog walker had known for years and years. So it doesn't, who cares that it was a rescue dog? Wait to virtue signal. Oh, look at me, I got a rescue dog. I'm such a great person. No, you're not. You're just an attention seeker that has such low self-esteem. You need validation from other people you need other people to tell you what a great person you are because you don't believe it yourself. And I went flying over the dog and smacked into the scaffolding. I ended up breaking 2 ribs. There are other hazards in rural areas, said this ER doctor. Getting struck by vehicles is definitely the most life-threatening injury when people are walking their dogs. Areas like this have many roads without sidewalks or wide shoulders. That's especially hazardous when people wear dark clothes with no reflectors or lights on human or animal. I live in a rural area and I have had this happen to me numerous times. People walk their dogs on our streets that have no sidewalks and very small shoulders. Gravelly parts on the sides of the roads. And they're wearing dark clothes. You can barely see them. And, it's so easy to hit them. They're saying that you can minimize dog walking risks by wearing appropriate footwear. Consider wearing footwear with spikes or studs. Yeah, there's so many ways you can injure yourself while walking a dog. If you live in a place where it snows in winter, goes below freezing, sidewalks are slippery, any sudden pull of the dog on the leash can cause you to slip and fall, and you can knock your head and you can die. You can get a subcranial hematoma, start bleeding on your brain, and die. And I'm sure this happens to people. It's just not reported in the news, along with dog deaths by dog attacks. How many more deaths are occurring, from injuries related to people walking their dogs? We don't know, but it's probably a lot. Another thing that they're not mentioning here is that walking with a dog greatly increases your risk of being attacked by a dog, because often people get attacked by dogs when they are trying to prevent a dog from attacking their dog. They get in there, they try to separate the dogs, and then the attacking dog redirects its aggression and attacks the person. That kind of nonsense wouldn't happen if you were not walking a dog in the first place. So, are there ways to avoid injuring yourself while walking a dog? Allow me to suggest one foolproof method that will never fail, and that is to not own a dog and to not walk a dog. Duh! But for those weirdos who insist on walking dogs, it's suggested to wear appropriate footwear with decent treads. Consider wearing footwear with spikes or studs. Use a non-retractable leash of 6 to 8 feet, because longer leashes are more likely to get tangled around your legs and cause falls. Retractable leashes can sometimes make your dog more difficult to control. Let's look at these 10 reasons why you should never use a retractable leash. Number 1, they're way too long. They can extend up to 26 feet. That allows dogs to get far enough away from their humans that a situation can quickly turn dangerous. A dog on a retractable leash is often able to run into the middle of the street, for example, or make uninvited contact with other dogs or people. And it can get itself injured and killed by running in front of a car or whatever. Number 2, in the above scenario, or one in which your pet is being approached by an aggressive dog, it's nearly impossible to get control of the situation if the need arises. It's much easier to regain control of or protect a dog at the end of a 6-foot standard flat leash. Number 3, the thin cord of a retractable leash can break, especially when a powerful dog is on the other end of it. If a strong, good-sized dog takes off at full speed, the cord can snap. Not only can that put the dog and whatever he may be chasing in danger, but also the cord can snap back and injure the human at the other end. Check out this article that explains how retractable dog leads have caused blindness and amputations. A 12-year-old was walking her dog when the retractable dog leash broke and the metal clasp snapped her in the face. She was like, "Mom, I can't see, I can't see." And when the mother saw her, she saw a piece of metal sticking out of the 12-year-old's eye. Retractable leads are usually made from cord or ribbon-type material that has been blamed for severing fingers, as well as burning or lacerating the skin of both dogs and humans. Heather Todd lost a portion of her left index finger in a flexi retractable leash accident in 2005. Her dog was hooked to a friend's retractable leash when the dog became excited. The 90-pound dog bolted after something, and Todd said she lost control of the handle, which caused the cord to burn her arm. When she instinctively tried to brush the cord off her arm, Todd said her finger got caught and she was pulled to the ground and dragged for 4 or 5 feet. "I look up and there's a fingertip right in front of me," she said, adding that she was in such shock. She at first thought the finger was a child's Halloween-type toy. So that leads us to number 4, which states, if a dog walker gets tangled up in the cord of a retractable leash or grabs it in an attempt to reel in their dog, it can result in burns, cuts, and even amputation. In addition, many people have been pulled right off their feet by a dog that reaches the end of the leash and keeps going. This can result in bruises, road rash, broken bones, and worse. Number 5, dogs can also receive terrible injuries when they run out the leash, including neck wounds, lacerated trachea, and injuries to the spine. This is caused by the sudden jerk on their neck. Number 6, retractable leashes allow dogs more freedom to pull at the end of them, which can look like aggression to another dog who may decide to fight back. Number 7, the handles of retractable leashes are bulky and can easily be pulled out of human hands, resulting in a runaway dog. Number 8, many dogs, especially fearful ones, are terrorized by the sound of a dropped retractable leash handle, and they may take off running, which is dangerous enough. But to make matters worse, the dog is so stupid, it thinks that the sound is some kind of object or something chasing them, and then they freak out even more. And as they run, the whatever it is that's chasing them is gaining ground, and they can't escape, so they get traumatized, and this can create a lingering fear in the dog not wanting to go for walks and to be afraid of leashes. Number 9, retractable leashes, like most retractable devices, have a tendency to malfunction over time, either refusing to extend, refusing to retract, or unspooling at will. And finally, number 10, retractable leashes are an especially bad idea for dogs that haven't been trained to walk politely on a regular leash. By their very nature, retractable trained dogs to pull while on I guess they mean retractable leads train dogs to pull while on leash, because they learn that pulling extends the lead. Yeah, balance and strength training exercises can help decrease the risk of falls and fractures. Working with a dog trainer can learn to read the pet's body language better. Well, knowing how to read your pet's body language is not going to help you at all if the dog suddenly decides to bolt. And being fit and strong and having great balance is not going to help you, especially if you're a woman. It doesn't really matter in a lot of cases how strong you get, or if you're a young person walking a dog, you can be strong for your age or your gender, but if you're walking like a cane corso or a Rottweiler or a large pit bull, like, forget it. The dog wants to get away from you. It's going to get away. And not only does that put other people at risk, wildlife, I should say, number one, like, no one seems to care about the goose or the squirrel or the 12 animal species dogs have driven to extinction, or the 200 more animal species dogs are threatening with extinction right now. And nobody cares about the domestic animals, the farmed animals that are brutally tortured and killed to become food for those dogs. Even animal lovers don't give a crap about those animals. They only care about dogs. You know, animal lovers need to specify that they love dogs, or they love cats, or they love elephants, but do not care at all about all of the other animal species. How many times have we been told, as people who have a healthy fear of unpredictable, bloodthirsty, remorseless predators, that we are animal haters? No, I don't want anything to do with dogs. No, I don't want to be around your dog. I don't want dogs in society. That doesn't mean I'm an animal hater. I actually care about animals way more than you do, dog lover. Where was I going with this? How many times have we been called animal haters? We're not animal haters. And people with cynophobia have nothing wrong with them. They do, in the sense that it's really difficult to live in a world that's gone absolutely bonkers with this dog worship, where dogs are literally everywhere. And it's really difficult to feel safe anywhere. You can't. If you are an intelligent, aware person, you're always going to have a degree of anxiety. when you are out of your house, because there are dogs everywhere. There are these predators running around, and the authorities are doing nothing about it. They're not enforcing leash laws, and even if they did, the leash laws are futile because they're not going to keep you safe, even if dogs are leashed. But, if I call, and I've called the police to report an off-leash pit bull in my front yard, and they did nothing about it. They asked me, is the dog acting aggressively? What difference does it make? If I called them to report a bear in my front yard, they would come and do something about it, even if the bear was not acting aggressively, because they understand bears are unpredictable, and they are aware of the damage bears could do to a human if they were triggered into attacking. Well, dogs can do the same damage that bears, wolves, cougars, chimpanzees, any other unpredictable wild animal can inflict on a human. Dogs can inflict the same injuries. They can kill. So what gives? Who cares whether or not the dog is acting aggressively at the moment? It is an unpredictable predator. But even law enforcement, the authorities are infected with this. I don't know if it is a mind-controlling parasite or if it is just mass hysteria, mass delusion. These people are disconnected from reality. So they go about their days with this false sense of security, living amongst these unpredictable, bloodthirsty, remorseless predators, which they call family members. There's nothing wrong with seeing dogs for what they are. It is difficult to learn how to manage that anxiety and how to go about life with that very rational fear. I feel like I've said all I had to say about this article. Thanks for watching, and please share this video. The future is pet-free.